Hello everyone, and welcome to Art Chat. I'm Margie Lee, and today we're in Oakmont talking with artisan Roger Olson. Welcome, Roger.
Well, thank you, Margie. I'm glad you're here.
Roger, you do the most interesting objects and the most detailed objects. And we have one in front of us right here. First of all, tell me what we're looking at. What is this? I feel like I've seen it in the movies somewhere.
Yes, if you recall the Da Vinci Code, they had to solve some puzzles. This actually goes back to Roman times when they would transmit messages back and forth. And you couldn't get inside to see the message unless you got the codes all perfectly lined up. And that thing, no way to get inside.
Unless you know the
And
code.
so when I saw the movie, I decided, hey, I've got to have one of these. And I sketched it out on a napkin and then started machining. And everything you see here started out as a solid block of brass, or in this case, a solid block of stainless steel. So all of these pieces were made from a solid block of material.
That's just amazing. Now, how long did it take? And we should tell people this is called a cryptex.
Cryptex, a Da Vinci cryptex.
And how long did it take you to make this?
Well, the first one probably took me, a couple of months. But everything's done by hand on a manual lathe here, with the exception of the engraving. I had access to a CNC machine, and these little rings were done
On that.
and engraved.
Engraved.
When I retired, I started going to school full time, taking machine shop.
And before you retired, you were doing what?
Woodworking.
Woodworking.
This is metalworking.
Okay.
Never done any.
Okay.
And so I learned all the basics, and in 6 years I graduated to using the CNC, the computer stuff, which
Okay.
was really quite fun. And you'll see in next project we talk about a lot of that was done using the computer.
Now, what are we looking at, first of all? What is
Okay.
this?
What you're looking at is a 1/16 scale model of the very first internal combustion engine. It was put on display in 1867 at the Paris show, World's Fair. And it ran on hydrogen. And if you note, one of the unique thing about it is the piston would fire from down below and come up, but you don't see anything happening. It's the weight of the piston and the cooling of the cylinder that generates the power.
Interesting.
And down here is the carburetor, which is really quite complex. It's a carburetor and exhaust. You control the speed of the engine by how fast you let the exhaust out.
Fascinating. And you have fabricated every little part, and here we see the parts,
Well,
correct?
fabricated, these little tiny black things there look like pieces of dirt. They're actually little socket head cap screws. I was able to buy those. So, but everything else was made individually by hand. And going to this scale, everything's to 1/1000th of an inch.
It's amazing.
It has to be precise. And so I made 3 parts of each, hoping that I could get enough good parts for one machine to go to that. And I was able to do that. And so here you can see kind of a collection of the different parts.
And
that,
how long did it take you to make this?
I'm going to say that it took me about 4 months in the school machine shop.
And you started with your own drawing. I mean, you did the drawing.
I had a very rough 2D drawing that I redrew in 3 dimension, and redrew all the parts in 3 dimension, and I could actually assemble the thing in 3 dimension and see it run on the computer. Then I knew everything was fitting, and then I could start making my parts.
Was it pretty fascinating when you actually got it together and it really did work?
Oh, man. Well, nothing works right the first time. It takes a lot of fine tuning to get those gears to mesh where they're supposed to and get all the parts to go right. I'm still going to try to set this thing up to run on compressed air. I'm not sure that it will do it. The original engine stood 7 feet tall, generated a half a horsepower. It's on display in the Smithsonian Institute. But as far as I know, this is the only one that's ever been made at this scale.
At this scale, well, it's really intriguing. And again, the attention to detail is amazing.